What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. On today's video we're going to be talking about the paint job that I got done a few months back and all the steps that it took to get it painted in this BaySide Blue TV2 as you guys can see behind me, and for the future plans that I have for this vehicle. Alright, stay tuned. So in this video we're going to talk about a little more details in regards to the products that I used and how much of the product I used per step in regards to getting the car painted. Like we spoke in the previous video, getting the car down to bare metal gives you the best understanding of what you're dealing with, and using Proform aircraft paint stripper really gets paint rising so you can scrape it off, as you saw in the previous clip. When using aircraft stripper, the more you use, the better it actually does perform. So if you're gonna go in low dosages in little areas where you didn't apply that much, you're gonna notice that it's gonna take a little longer and a little harder for you to scrape it off. You're gonna have to use a little more elbow grease in those sections. So when you do actually use the aircraft stripper, make sure you actually do put a thick layer on, globs if anything, and you'll notice that it's gonna be a lot more effective. My front fenders being carbon fiber, there actually was a lot more work to be done to straighten them out than I had anticipated, because I thought find the carbon fiber fenders, they've already been cleared, it wouldn't be too much work, but actually looking and comparing to the doors and other panels, you actually see how wavy it really was and how really the quality of the work putting these fenders together were pretty crappy. So unfortunately that took a lot of time, also making sure they were straight and even and rounded perfectly to the body of the car itself. So we're about to go on to the next step, which is spray filler. Also, you can also call it spray putty. So before we apply that onto the door, the hood, trunk, now that it's down to bare metal, we want to make sure that the surface area was clean. So we used compressed air just to blow everything off. And then we went on to using a waxing grease remover and making sure it was thoroughly clean. After applying spray filler across the whole vehicle, that's including the extensions of the side skirts and the fenders till they were straight along with the vehicle, we ended up going with just using 1 gallon of spray filler. Something that I talked about in the last video was the side skirts that I ended up going with. I unfortunately couldn't find the factory GTR R34 side skirts. I went to Nissan, it was discontinued, they couldn't find it, and it was nowhere to be found used or anything else. So I ended up going with the cheaper route, which is just the 5-glass ones that you can pick up off eBay. They were a couple $100. I thought actually, I was getting a pretty decent deal because they had pretty decent reviews. But when they obviously came back and I picked them up, I obviously noticed how thin they were, and as soon as we used any compressed air on them to blow them off or anything, it would just start cracking off. So I think we probably spent a good month just figuring out what we're going to do with these side skirts to actually line them up and make sure they actually look factory. So this actually took a lot more time than we wanted to. So this probably wasted a good month and a half just on the side skirts themselves, making sure they line up and fit perfectly fine. Alright, so the day's finally come where now we're going to be painting the vehicle. We're going to be doing 2 different stages. So weekend 1 was going to be the inside of the vehicle. So that's the engine bay, the inside of the vehicle, like the interior, the trunk, and anywhere else behind panels. Weekend 2 was going to be the car put together besides the bumpers and the side skirts. And then you'd be painting the car in a complete fashion with the doors on. And the reason why is with the metallic paint, when you're going across the car, you want it to transition nicely so then you're not having cut-offs between panels when you actually put them back on. Step was to have some of the panels in primer, and also to have the rear quarter and the roof in primer of the vehicle. The reason why we applied this first was because afterwards then we can focus on the inside of the vehicle and have the whole car cure and bake at the same time, because in between the weekends we're going to have the car blocked again. So we're going to do primer first and then focus on the engine bay and the trunk and all that stuff later on. But first things first, we're going to do the primer on the vehicle, then primer on the panels, the doors, the trunks, and the side skirts and all that stuff. Prior to getting the car painted, I actually took a couple of paint cards and got my painter to sample out BaySide blue with different primers and in different shades of colors to see what color we should actually use the base in. We used like a dark gray, light gray, white, different shade of blue, black, and I found personally that the black made the blue pop the best, and some people will notice that at nighttime obviously blue pops a little more. It gives like that little hint of purple actually, if anything. I found that even during the daytime with the black, it also gave that vibrant blue effect as well. So that's what we ended up going with the black sealant, sealing the vehicle black, and then applying the TB2 BaySide blue. The research that I've also done, I found that most people said that going with a black does give that blue to pop a little better. If you do want a lighter shade of TB2 BaySide blue, then of course you can go with a lighter primer. Otherwise, go with a darker one and you'll be quite satisfied with the results will come out. So the end result with how much we used for BaySide Blue TV2, I ended up going with 4.5 gallons of sprayable paint. So that's to cover obviously the inside, the outside, and all the panels, the trims, the extensions, the complete car to go from color A to color B, which obviously was BaySide Blue. And that's what it took, 4.5 gallons of sprayable BaySide Blue. And we ended up going with solvent base instead of water base. Alright guys, so I wanted to get this video out before I release the other video of the car being actually put together, just because I was getting a lot of questions in regards to how much product I was using and a little more in depth to go in details in regards to the steps that I was making towards getting this car painted. Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. In the next video we're going to be showing exactly what it takes to get the car put together. And as always guys, if you guys like this video, click like, and we'll see you guys in the next video.